Welcome to Open Line, Ethan. How can I help you?
Yeah, hi, Michael. So I've got a question about the, same thing with the Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson interview that everybody had seen. And I'm,
By the
a
way,
young Christian.
I want to say Tucker Carlson really has hosted anti-Semites on his program and not challenged them. He has taken a terrible attitude about Jewish people. So I think he's has colored his perspective, not as a journalist, but he's really taken some attacks. He's attacked other Jewish people in media. It's shameful, I think.
Right. Well, this question
he hosted a Holocaust
Zionism,
denier of all things. Go ahead. What's your question?
I did not know that. Yeah. So I'm a young Christian, and in the early 20s, and I hear this topic constantly about Zionism. And as Christians, are we called to have this undying support for modern Israel, or is modern Israel the new church, the body of believers on earth? And I see
obviously,
many passages used to support both, and it's just hard to navigate that.
Yeah, I can't answer that whole big question right here in
right.
just 2 or 3 minutes. I do want to point out to you that in Romans 11:28, it's a very and the reason I point this out to you is that a friend of mine said that they wanted to go ahead and believe that God had replaced the people of Israel with the church, with a quote-unquote new Israel or a spiritual Israel. And Romans 9-11 kept them from doing that. They couldn't believe it. It says this about unbelieving Israel in Romans 11:28. Regarding the gospel, they are enemies. Now, that means they are opposed to the gospel, not enemies of God. They are enemies for your advantage, meaning they're opposed to the gospel, and this was good because now the gospel went out to the Gentiles. That's what he talks about in verse 11 of the same chapter. But then it says, but regarding election, which is just a big word for chosenness, regarding being chosen, okay, this is talking about Jewish people. They're opposed to the gospel, but regarding chosenness, they are loved because of the patriarchs. God gave the Abrahamic covenant to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and because of that, God loves them, since God's gracious gifts and calling are irrevocable. So you go back to chapter 9, and there it talks about the gifts that God has given the Israelites. It says they are Israelites. To them, this is 9:4, belong the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the temple service, and the promises, which include the promise of the land. The ancestors are theirs, so the patriarchs are theirs, and from them, by physical descent, came the Messiah. So I think we can't take the promise away from Israel based on what the Apostle Paul says. Now, the second thing I want to mention is people misunderstand Zionism. It has been there's been a propaganda war out there to somehow dirty the word Zionism, and I think this is really a tragedy, because Zionism, you can go back to its roots. Theodor Herzl, who developed Zionism at the first Zionist Congress, all it is the belief that Jewish people should have self-determination in their ancient homeland. It's just the same as French patriotism or English patriotism, thinking that they should have, we think the English should have self-determination in England. The Brits should have self-determination in Great Britain. The same thing for the Jewish people, like all peoples of the earth, to be allowed to have self-determination in their ancient homeland. That's what Zionism is, and it has been turned into something dirty. I'd recommend a couple of books. There's a book by Gerald McDermott. A simpler form of it is called Israel Matters.
Okay.
He's I think a Presbyterian or an Anglican professor who wrote it. And it's called Israel Matters, and it's a really good little book. And then there's also a book that he edited that's a little bit more technical called The New Christian Zionism by McDermott. And I recommend both those books to you because it's not written from the perspective. People dismiss me, oh, you're Jewish, Michael, so that's why you say what you do. But McDermott's, I can't remember if he's Anglican or Presbyterian, but he's one of those. And he certainly is not a dispensationalist like people want to dismiss it. He's just someone that's quite biblical in terms of understanding Romans 9 through 11. He does a really good job explaining it. It's the New Christian Zionism. But I'm saddened to see the way people have made Zionism a dirty word, and they say things like it's an Israel is an ethno-nationalist state, meaning an ethnic national state. Well, what is France? What's Saudi Arabia? It doesn't mean that there are minorities in Israel with full rights and full citizens. The freest Arabs in the world are the Israeli Arabs. They have all the freedoms of a democracy. And it's a shame to me that this word has been made into some sort of dirty word. It shouldn't be. Even people who are actually Zionists, believe in a homeland for the Jewish people, say, oh, I'm not a Zionist, because it's been so defamed. It's unfortunate.